Thank you all for coming. It's so wonderful to see you. And I have just a couple of things to discuss with you. The first is, this is an outstanding group of poets that you're going to hear. They are the Poets 7. We started in October, and it's May, and so we're ending the year, the Poetry Workshop year. Each one of these emerging poets has had over half of the poems that they've written awarded or publicized nationwide in adult literary magazines, or both. The most recent ones that they've written, we've been so busy doing our readings up in San Francisco and down in Modesto at California Federation of Chaparral Poets. That's the oldest and largest organization of poetry in the state. They all won in that contest, and now preparing for Poetry in Bloom. But I will warrant that as the new poems go out, some of that you will hear tonight, that by the time we start over again in October, a good number of them will either be awarded or publicized or both. And there's not too many organizations that claim that. And I think you'll see what I mean shortly. There were two types of poems that we worked on very hard this year. One is called an ekphrastic, and we have the poet laureate here of Los Gatos, who was the first one, Erica Goss, who was the first one who taught me about ekphrastics. I didn't know about them. Of course, I read Ode on the Grecian Urn and everything, but I didn't really realize that there was an actual poem. Another word for that is called transformative verse. Transformative verse. I kind of like that sound a little better than ekphrastic, but we've called them ekphrastics. And I'd like to tell you that we have a gallery of paintings here in this house, and I have a very favorite California artist, and he's with us in the audience tonight. And it's Dr. David Hunt back there. So most of the poems that you will hear, the ekphrastics, there's a section about art, and they serve as, paintings serve as inspiration for poetry. So after the show, I have quite a large gallery of his work in that room there, and while you're waiting in line, instead of having to wait in line for food, please make a trip down the gallery of David's work, and you will re-see the poems and how they inspire the students. The second type of poem that we haven't heard before too much is the prose poem. And this is where I am convinced, I became convinced when Erica introduced me to Mark Heinlein, who's right there, that this poetry thing can also help a student's prose enormously. And there's even something called a prose poem. It's more modern than the lyric poem. It's more modern than the narrative poem. It's more modern than the dramatic monologue. But it's a wonderful form. And the students, Mark came and did a couple of workshops with them. And of course John, who's there, back there, and Bill Peck, whom I'm expecting in the not too distant future, they also coach them for their performances. I've basically do the writing with them. So we have quite a staff here. Now, some of you already know, but we are celebrating Mark's new book. He has had his first book published, and if you look at your lanyard, it's called Everything We Call Ordinary. And the secret is, this poet teaches us that there's nothing really ordinary. Things that we pass by, he helps us see it in a new light. And so he'll talk to you a little bit about it, and then if you'd like to, we have a copy for you. Just $10, personal check is fine, or I'm giving them for Christmas gifts. But please take a look at the book and listen to Mark. So, thank you so much for being here, and I'm going to introduce you now to Mark. Mark.
The poems in Everything We Call Ordinary are prose poems, those that eschew traditional meter and form in order to establish and reveal their own architecture. The prose poem is large and contains multitudes, and that's exactly what I wanted to include in my collection. So I stuffed leftover kung pao chicken in. I stuffed clumps of dandelions in. I stuffed paying the PG&E bill in. Yet, there are all sorts of luminous acts of intimacy that arise to lighten the bedraggled drudgery that often drags us down. By focusing on commonplaceness, I hope to reveal that life, with all its complex facets, is indeed extraordinary and may actually be poetry in bloom. I title my poems merely with Roman numerals so that the reader may open the book at will and then connect with and be transformed by their simpleness. 37. I'm alone in the apartment, looking through photographs to show Mother, even though I know they will make her cry. There I am at the grocery store. There I am in my Little League uniform. There I am at my desk, in the back room, yellow wallpaper and curtains in the background. Could she have known then what I was doing in that room, planning to depart when I turned 17? Back then, days came through the windows and made miserable patterns on the carpet when the nightstands were finally moved. For years, the night came with dew for the grass, and long worms worked the dirt beneath the glowing street lamps. Those were days of youth, days we thought everything would work out like we hoped. As I walked to her front door, I noticed the petunias are choked with clumps of dandelions, and the pink camellias are burnt brown on the tips. I don't care if I ever make it now, Mother. Just let me sit at the kitchen table with you. Let me know you have loved at least a little in this lifetime, and everything will be okay. Still, my other frustration is with my mother, who never told me her father wanted me to take over the dairy farm which went to my cousin Larry, who loved what he did but was dumb with money and people. Women in particular, and gambled Grandpa's farm away on one marriage after another. Mother always wanted me to be a doctor. She was a housemaid in a doctor's house the summer of '59, But when she sent me away to university, I loved botany classes and started an organic gardeners club where we worked a small patch of dirt between the boiler room and chem lab, where we grew corn, purple chard, turnips, and poppies, where I met my wife, who thought I'd be a great finance analyst. Finally, I collected jars when I was unemployed and didn't have money for anything except laundry and groceries and rent. What a waste to throw away, to throw out glass containers which could be used for something. I didn't know what I'd use them for, but I'd paid for those jars. Salsa, pasta sauce, peanut butter, jellies, relish. I saved anything glass, then set them in steaming water 15 minutes, peeled the dampened paper with an unnameable delight. I scrubbed the gum from the label and used a butter knife to jab a sponge in hard-to-reach spots. I'd rinse with hot water, as hot as I could get it, wearing yellow rubber gloves, then snap them off, grab a dish towel to dry every spot. I'd lift them to the kitchen lights to behold perfectly clear glass, a specimen saved from the trash. It was as if I'd blown them myself, the excitement I felt as I set them on the windowsill. But I never filled them with anything, rocks or seashells or homemade honey, things themselves of wonder. Instead, they contained their own beauty, glass jars lined up, filled with nothing else besides light, and more light. Long enough! Have you dreamed contemptible dreams? Walt Whitman writes in section 46 of his epic poem, Song of Myself, commanding us to embrace our labyrinthine life with gusto. Because of his cavalier style and his sagacious lines, I invoke Whitman to inspire these poets to write their own prose poems. He writes, "You must habit yourself to the dazzle of light and to every moment of your life. Now you too must habit yourself to the dazzle of light and to the dazzle of these young poets tonight."
Ha ha ha!